Yo, anime has exploded in popularity over the last few years. Y'all might not believe this, but I'm one of the people that didn't start watching anime until they got a little older. I don't think I watched anime until like 2017. Well, obviously I'd seen certain things like Dragon Ball and Pokemon, but nothing that would make me a real anime fan. And I think a lot of that is because I was trying to watch the wrong stuff. Like I was trying to watch Pop Team Epic and shit.
Is this nigga serious?
But I didn't really get the appeal to anime until I started watching shonen. Starting out with basic things like My Hero Academia, Full Metal Alchemist, Naruto. And this is when I really started to fall in love with anime as a medium. And for me and many other people, when you first get into anime, you really want to binge everything. You want to watch all the classics that you missed out on, and that's what I did. I went and watched Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, Bleach, all these different anime that I missed out on when they were currently airing. And it's funny because of how much anime has exploded in popularity in the past few years, that is the standard experience for the average anime fan in 2024. We've just had non-stop stories to binge and hop onto. We've been spoiled. Like most anime fans right now have never experienced a world without Attack on Titan. Shit, some modern anime fans haven't even experienced a world without Jujutsu Kaisen, which is why I think you're seeing this massive panic at series like My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan. As these series come to an end, you're seeing modern anime fans panicking hard. You see it a lot in the way that people have been talking about Shonen Jump lately, a lot of concerns about the future of the magazine, because it seems like all their heavy hitters are ending one after another. Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, even though One Piece isn't ending anytime soon, so I don't think they gotta worry about that. One Piece could keep going forever. But truth be told, I don't think shonen anime is in as bad of a spot as people say it is. Actually, I kind of feel like Shonen Jump is in a bit of a renaissance. I think last year and this year, we're starting to see a lot of newer mangaka find their legs and really start to get recognized. To the point where now, it feels like we're about to get the new era of really popular anime adaptations. A lot of anime fans don't read manga and probably don't keep up with manga very much. But if you did, you would know that there are some banger-ass manga getting adapted soon. One of them I'm super excited about is Dandadan. Ignore the name real quick, I swear it's good. I was actually surprised that Dandadan got an adaptation at all because those first couple of chapters are wild as a motherfucker. Basically, we got this little nerdy kid named Ken, and basically he's obsessed with aliens. He believes in aliens to the fullest. It feels so unnatural calling him Ken because nobody calls him Ken in the actual manga. But he meets this girl named Momo who thinks the alien shit is complete nonsense, but she believes in ghosts because her grandma is a spirit medium. That's not the weird part. This is where it gets weird. So they're over here making fun of each other and shit, right? Like, oh, you believe in ghosts, you believe in aliens, grow up. So they dare each other to go to specific spots that are known for having ghosts and aliens. He tells her a spot where aliens show up frequently, and she tells him a spot where a ghost actively lives. Long story short, she meets the aliens try to steal her reproductive organs. He meets the ghost, and the ghost actually steals his reproductive organs. The ghost steals his balls.
What the fuck?
And basically the whole goal of the series is them trying to get his balls back from whatever ghosts or aliens have stolen it. Now, I know that sounds insane, but what makes Dandadan really cool and really fun is the way that it combines sci-fi and paranormal stuff. If I'm being honest, I'm usually not that interested in sci-fi that much. I'm more of a fantasy person, but the way that Dandadan blends the two makes sci-fi so much more interesting to me because the paranormal powers and the sci-fi powers are not separate, not completely. It's more like people use the paranormal aspects of the series to enhance their scientific powers, and vice versa. There's times we see ghosts and paranormal beings using science and physics to enhance their strength. And yeah, it's like this fun little adventure that you follow them on. But I think what surprised me about this series the most is how much heart it has. There are some surprisingly touching moments, especially with some of the ghosts and some of the aliens in the story. It just gives this otherwise goofy series the gentle touch that it needs, if that makes sense. I think my favorite example is probably like the ballet ghost, if y'all remember that one. I'm not gonna spoil that for people who haven't read it, but Jesus. Something that I love about Dandadan that I don't know how they're gonna adapt this into the anime is the artwork. There are some crazy spreads in Dandadan. I don't know how they do this shit week to week, but almost every single week there is a crazy full double page spread, which it feels like Shonen Jump manga barely do nowadays, but it creates this atmosphere around moments in the series. I don't know how the anime is gonna replicate that. And these double page spreads are pretty important, I feel like, because they do a lot to emphasize moments in the fights. Because of these double page spreads and these more poppy pages that Dandadan uses, it gives the fights this cinematic feel that I think will be hard to translate, but not impossible. And I realize that a lot of manga are going for this more cinematic feel in their fights, a lot like Sakamoto Days, which I think is probably the best example of this because the fight scenes in Sakamoto Days.
Fire!
That shit will blow your mind. And it's crazy because Sakamoto Days kind of reminds me of Jujutsu Kaisen in this way that the art style is super sketchy, but it's also super detailed at the same time. I don't understand how it's possible, but it gives the manga this rugged, rough around the edges feel that is perfect for the world of Assassin. But funnily enough, with all the cinematic shots and all the gore and the violence, I think Sakamoto Days reminds me the most of Gintama.
Man, what the fuck is you talking about?
I think a lot of that has to do with the whole concept behind the series, which if you watch Gintama will sound very familiar. Sakamoto Days is about a white-haired ex-assassin who retired and started working in his own shop with a young girl in Chinese attire and another boy named Shin. Yeah, I'm sure there's no inspiration here whatsoever. And as I'm making this video, Sakamoto Days just got announced for an anime coming out this year, which I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how you make an anime of Sakamoto Days that fast. Please don't butcher Sakamoto Days. It has so much potential. But I think where Sakamoto Days differs from series like Gintama is in its plot focus, and obviously all the characters getting decapitated and shit. But out of any manga I've read, I think Sakamoto Days balances comedy and action the best. The two only aid each other and never take away from each other, which is the kind of thing that happens in series that tend to be more comedy focused. But I think the main selling point for Sakamoto Days, the characters are just so fun and likable. I remember like every other chapter being like, oh no, this is my favorite character. And then another character gets introduced, you're like, nah, this is my favorite character. And another character gets introduced, you're like, nah, this is my favorite character. So many characters with unique looks, unique fighting styles, unique personalities. I think my favorites are Osaragi and Nagumo, because they're just such airheads, but they're so fucking raw. Like they will go from messing around to fucking somebody up so quick. I love that shit. Oh, also, I haven't read Kaiju number 8, but that anime is dropping. I might watch that. But from what I've heard, this is another series that has massive amounts of potential. And speaking of potential, you know I couldn't end this video without talking about Kagurabachi. Probably the next big mainstream anime coming. It is so funny because Kagurabachi started out as just a meme. But to be honest, from the beginning, it had everything in it to be a popular manga. Cool looking main character with a sword that cuts shit and talks down on his enemies. What more do you need? But outside of the fight scenes that are cool as I think Chihiro is just an interesting main character, specifically because of his relationship with his dad. Now, Chihiro's dad was the most legendary sword maker ever. He created 7 legendary swords that all have magic powers and were used to end wars. Actually, used to end the biggest war in the history of the world, or at least in the history of Japan. You know how anime is. And we're very early on in the series, so we don't know a lot of the in-between, but eventually, after the war ends, Chihiro's dad decides nobody needs to use these swords. It's better off if I just keep them stored in my house and don't let anybody use them, because niggas is just gonna kill people with them. So guess what happens? Somebody shows up and kills him, and they take all the swords except for one special sword that only Chihiro and his dad knew about, and Chihiro is now on a mission to retrieve all the weapons and avenge his dad's death. Now, from the outset, that premise is not too unique. A guy who wants to avenge his dad and get back the 7 mystical weapons, right? But I think what makes it massively interesting is the moral conflicts that Chihiro's dad had and that he passed down to Chihiro himself. I always think it's really interesting when characters are still important after their death. After their death, the character is still being developed and delved into more, and because that character is being delved into more, we get a deeper understanding of the main character, Chihiro. And throughout the series, there's been like this semi-mystery of what really led Chihiro's dad to feel this way about these weapons. Was the war really that bad, or is there something deeper going on that he's trying to prevent from happening? And even in the way that his dad connects not only to Chihiro's allies, but also to his enemies, he is a motivation to the good and a motivation to the evil, which I think could be pretty interesting going down the line, depending on what they do with it. Even Chihiro himself is very subversive as a main character, because at first you get this feeling that he's this super edgy kid who wants to look so tough, and nah, he's actually a pretty nice guy. And it's cool because he's not that talkative, but he still leaves an imprint on people with the very few things that he does say. This has been especially interesting to me in his relationship with Hakuri and the way that he spurred him on to better himself. Their relationship is just one of my favorite kind of relationships in anime. I could eat that shit up all day. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all boys today. Let me know what you think about the future of Shonen in the comments below, and let me know any more upcoming manga I could pick up, because I can never have enough manga, man. Like the video if you liked the video. Oh, you didn't like the video? Arrest him. Now, as for the rest of you, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, man, I'm gone.